Hey there. So I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I had to write another certification exam, but I'm done with that. So I'm back with another video. Hopefully you'll find this interesting or entertaining or maybe even a little bit useful. So I'm going to talk about three items that are part of continuity of operations, business continuity plans or disaster recovery plans, however you want to call it. And those are RTO, RPO, and MTD. I'm going to explain what those are in just a second. I'm going to start with the last one first. So MTD is called maximum tolerable downtime. And just like it sounds, it's the maximum amount of time that the organization can be without some application or service or system or something before there starts to be serious adverse effects on the business. In fact, it might even damage the viability of the business. And, MTD can vary depending on the nature of the business. Think about like a call center, right? A contract call center. They're contracted to take phone calls and they got to take so many, per hour, per minute, or whatever their contract says, part of their SLA, and their phone system goes down. Well, that's a pretty big impact on their business. They can't function without those phones being able to take calls. So their maximum tolerable downtime could be 15 minutes. I don't know, could be an hour, hard to say. But it's up to the business really to decide what that maximum tolerable downtime is. And, there's probably a very complicated business calculation that figures out the cost and all that sort of stuff. But as far as we're concerned, MTD, that's the maximum amount of time that something can be down before it's got to be up and running, before it starts damaging the business. Now, the other 2 points, restore time objective is RTO, and restore point objective RPO is restore point objective. They all play in together, really. But let's start with RTO. RTO is the restore time objective. And this is the amount of time that a system, when it goes down, is expected to be back up and running. So in the call center example that I used, perhaps the restore time objective is 10 minutes, right? If our phone system goes down, we want to be back up and running within 10 minutes. That's our restore time objective. And the maximum tolerable downtime might be 30 minutes, or maybe it's that hour I suggested. Maybe it's 5 minutes. I don't know. It depends on the nature of the business. But the restore time, that's the amount of time that can elapse before we expect the system to be back up and running. And RPO, restore point objective, that's the point at which something can be restored back to. And think of this in terms of data on a file server. If we're working on a file on the server and something happens to it, well, what's the last backup that we can get of that? Is it last night's backup? Is it a week ago? What is it? So we want to know the point at which something can be restored to after it goes down. Our mail server dies. What's the restore point objective for our mail server? We want to be able to bring back mail and everything that arrived up to 2 hours ago. It depends on the nature of the business, right? But these three things, they all sort of play into each other because continuity of operations, business continuity planning, disaster recovery planning, these are things that you have to think about when you're a business. Now, you also have to think about them when you're an individual as well. So you always want to make sure you're running backups and things of that nature, like I've mentioned before. But the bad thing is always coming, right? Computers are machines. Networks are just systems of machines. Something bad is ultimately going to happen, and when that happens, you need to know how you're going to respond to it. Restore point objective, like I said, tends to relate mostly to data and the recovery of data within a business. Restore time objective and MTD, those tend to relate to larger overall business applications or services or functions of some nature, of some kind. You have to know what those are. And by knowing what those are and what it's going to cost to achieve what you want, what's feasible, what's right, the right amount of money to spend, the right amount of people to have, all those sorts of good and fun things. So there you go, something to think about to keep things going. Anyways, I hope that was entertaining to you. Have a great weekend.